name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. And in this one, I want to speak to you about a quote that I recently heard from Alan Watts. And I absolutely adore Alan Watts. He is brilliant. He's a fountain of knowledge, and every single time I hear him speak, I feel like I'm speaking to an extremely higher end spiritual person. It just calms me down, makes me feel like everything is right in the world. And one of the quotes that I read recently by him, or I think was quoted to me by one of my teachers, yoga teachers, was something like, and I'm paraphrasing here, "The problem is not the problem. The problem is that you think the problem is a problem." Something like that, okay? And so I'll repeat again. So the problem that you think is a problem is not the problem. The problem is that you think that the problem is a problem. And I thought it was, as soon as my teacher said these words, it was as if like a light bulb went off in my head, and like a bell went off in my heart. Like, I really resonated with these words because I really truly believe that a lot of times we are the creators of the problems in our life. We are the ones who create problems when there are no problems that actually exist. It's the way we think about things, or the way we deal with things, that are causing the problems to exist rather than the actual thing itself. The thing itself might be extremely simple to do and straightforward, but in our angst, in our anxiety, in our agitation, in our drive to do something or to change something, we kind of poke at it, and you keep on poking at it until something that was not a problem turns into a problem, or something that wasn't a problem starts seeming like it's a problem. Because in our heads, all of a sudden, we're like, well, no, but look at it, it has to be a problem. It can't be that simple, can it? Maybe it can, why not? But because of our thoughts, because we are constantly making a mountain out of a molehill, we're making up things, we're making up problems where there are no problems actually existing. Okay? And so a lot of times now, once I've heard this obviously also, but before as well, I would always try to imagine the problems that I do have and look at them in a more clear fashion. Because I do realize, for me particularly, I don't know, maybe you are not like that, maybe you're more zen than me, but I know for myself, a lot of times I'm sitting there and I'm making up all of these stories in my head. My imagination is running off into the hills, and I'm making up all these stories that are completely false. In fact, they're actually not even possible in the physical realm, even if I try to make them possible. And so I'm making up all these problems of a situation that doesn't actually have a problem. It's not actually problematic, but I'm making it up out to be a problem. I'm making it out to be a problem. I'll give you a quick example from a recent situation in my life where I literally am hitting myself in the head for it because it was so stupid that I was doing this, and I can't believe that I wasted so much mental energy on this particular thing that was not a problem, but I created it out to be a problem. I made it out to be a problem in my head. So outwardly, if anyone looked at it, not a problem. Inwardly, I'm looking at it, huge problem, right? And so the situation was basically like this. So you might know, I've been talking about this in the last couple of videos. Recently I moved to Mexico with my sister, and what we did was we wanted to move here for a couple of months because we wanted to work in the heat, and we wanted to get away from the winter in Canada, and my sister finally got permission to work remotely. So awesome, great. And so what I did was I went online, I went to Airbnb and tried to look for something suitable in our price range and in the area that we wanted and all of that. And I found a place that was very reasonably priced and new apartment building, very conducive to us, extremely perfect in a lot of different ways. And so obviously I messaged the person, and I set up something with her, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I think we're going to be staying for 3 to 4 months, not sure yet, maybe 2 months, maybe 3, 4, who knows, right? And so we set it up, and I messaged her, and I sent her the deposit. Okay, so cool, everything's fine, no problem at all, worked out perfectly. It was, she came from a very reliable source, so I was like not worried about it. But of course my mind, because it likes to torture itself, I like to torture myself, it started creating a problem where there was no problem, right? So all of a sudden, I am lying in bed, trying to fall asleep, and my mind starts piping up and saying, so what do you think? Do you think this person is trustworthy? Maybe they're just going to take your money and run. Maybe you're going to get there and there's going to be no apartment. Maybe you're going to, even though the apartment was visible on Google Maps and it was on a bunch of different websites, Airbnb being one. But of course my mind doesn't want to think that way. It doesn't want to be logical about things. And so it's was trying to create a problem where there was no problem, right? But of course, me being the sucker that I am, instantaneously I was like, oh my god, you're right. Oh my, what if she's just gonna take my money? And then we get there with all of our bags, all of our hopes and dreams and desires to live in Mexico for 3 months, and there's no apartment there. What are we gonna do? Oh my goodness, this is a huge disaster. Oh, I should have never done this. And of course I went into that. Yeah, now I know how to control myself, so I stepped back and I was like, what are you doing, Boom? Can you just stop being crazy? And so of course I was able to stop myself, but this is a very relevant example of where the problem was non-existent. There was no problem. Everything was fine. And yes, we came here, the apartment existed, and we had booked it, and everything was fine, everything went smoothly. But in my head, or in my craziness, I was creating a problem where there was no problem existing. Right? So the problem is not the problem. The problem is that you think the problem is a problem. Right? Of course, in this regard, it can also be considered where you believe that you have a situation, but it's actually not a situation at all. Because you're making it out to be a situation, it turns out to be a situation. I'll give you an example to demonstrate that. So, not recently, but a couple of years back, I was friends with this person, and we were really good friends and we had a really good relationship. And then I heard someone else talking about her and about how she had said something about me to someone else. She was spreading rumors about me or something like that. I don't know exactly the details of it. Until that point, our relationship was perfect. There were no problems in it. And the problem is not the problem, right? The problem is that you think there is a problem. And I imagined that perhaps she had a problem with me and that's why she was kind of spreading these rumors about me. I never actually went up to her and asked her about it, which was my fault, of course. Now I think back upon it. I never decided, okay, you know what, let me actually have a conversation with this person. We've never had any issues. Maybe this is a false rumor, or maybe there's a reason why she did it. If she did it, why not just go talk to her? That would have been simple. There would have been no problem at all. There would have been no issue at all. I would have just gone and talked to her and then solved it, resolved it, and gotten over it. But instead, I festered over it, I thought about it, I made a problem where there was no problem, and then I ruined our relationship because I didn't want to talk to her anymore because I was getting angrier and angrier about the fact that she spread rumors about me, right? So again, there was no problem there. I listened to some random rumor and I caused a problem to appear. The problem is not the problem. The problem is that you think the problem is a problem, right? So we, in our madness, in the fact that we are thinkers, a lot of us are overthinkers and overanalyzers, we sit there and instead of spending our time creating new beautiful things, we sit there and create problems. We sit there and think, okay, so yeah, everything's going really well. What can I do right now to make more problems out for myself? What can I do to create a problem for myself? There was really no problem with that apartment. I had booked it, everything was fine, she had confirmed. But in my miserable craziness, I sat there and I created a problem out of something that was not a problem. Again, a lot of times in a situation, we might think a problem is a problem, but it's not actually. We're just thinking about it as a problem. We could also even think of it as a challenge or a learning opportunity. A lot of times, what I try to do now is that if I'm thinking of something and thinking, oh man, this is so annoying, why does it have to be like this? I'll start kind of rephrasing it in my head and saying, okay, this is not a problem, it's a learning opportunity, it's a lesson from the universe, it's something for you to grow upon, or it's something that's necessary for you to go on to the next stage of your life. It's necessary for you to level up. And I think a lot of the times relationships and breakups and those kind of things are, in a lot of cases, those kind of lessons. You know, a lot of times you might be fired from a job and you might think, oh my god, my life is over. And then the next moment you get an amazing job that you wouldn't have been able to take unless you had been fired from the other job or if you didn't have a job, right? And so a lot of times, things that we consider are problems are actually opportunities in disguise, lessons in disguise. It's just a matter of rephrasing. It's just a matter of changing up the way you think about things and realizing that the problem is not the problem. It's that you think the problem is a problem that creates the problem. I'm sure there's a lot more nuances to this epithet or this quote by Alan Watts because it's just brilliant. And so if you have some other ways of looking at this quote, please share them with me because I'm really interested to see what you think about this quote and what you think about Alan Watts. If you thought that I didn't actually explain it well enough, let me know as well and I shall do a follow-up video. Again, thank you so much for being on my channel. I really appreciate your support and I shall see you the next time around. Bye for now.